For the first time in 4 months, we are seeing pending home sales decline. That's right, folks. Per this recent article from WRE News, that is exactly what we are starting to see in the housing market. Today, we're going to go over this article and I'm going to unpack some of the things that I think are important or that properly convey the message in this article. Now, first and foremost, this is national news or national numbers. So if you're really interested on understanding how this impacts your hyper local market, well, then it's best to connect with a realtor who is in your market, who is on top of these things, because every market is going to be a little bit different. But I think what we're seeing overall from a national perspective, a majority of the markets, I would say about 75% of the markets, are seeing very similar activity when it comes to the housing market. Okay, so as I mentioned, pending home sales are down, and it's not down majorly, but well, we know that the real estate market is crazy and the last 2 years have just been absolutely insane. So to hear anything coming down in the real estate market it just doesn't sound normal, right? Usually prices are up, interest rates are up, home sales are up, everything is up. So today, we finally get to talk about some decline in the real estate market. So we're seeing, or nationally, we have seen about a decline in about 2%. That's it. That's actually 1.9% decline in pending home sales. Now, that may sound like a small number, but in the grand scheme of things, 2%, that's a large number. I mean, when you think about it, in 2022, there were over 6.5 million residential real estate transactions, okay? So 2% of that number is a staggering amount of homes that would no longer be a transaction. So ultimately, 2% doesn't sound like a lot, but it is enough where we are going to feel that impact. Whether you're a buyer or a seller, a realtor, a mortgage lender, you're going to feel that impact with just that 2%. But what are the factors? Why are we seeing a decline in pending home sales? Well, let's address the elephant in the room. And I think the big elephant in the room are the interest rates. And not just the interest rates, but the recent hike, or not even recent hike, but the several hikes that we have seen in interest over the past 12 months, let's say. So if we were to peel back some of the layers and look at where interest rate was versus where it's at now, it's a pretty significant difference. In January of this year, we saw mortgage rates under 3%. Now that we are in the second quarter of 2023, there are interest rates in the 6s and 7s. So it's a huge difference in interest rates and how that impacts borrowing power. And again, that change was just in a matter of a few months, which creates some uncertainty. You know, it's a very uncertain market, which puts the consumers on the sideline. And they also hear all these headlines, which ultimately they try to figure out what makes the most sense. So I think when the interest rates, they shot up like that, a lot of buyers sat on the sideline and tried to figure out what should they do. Should they buy? Should they not buy? Should they just wait temporarily and then re-enter the market as a buyer, which is what I think is we're seeing most people do. I think we're seeing most people come back into the market now that they're a little bit more comfortable with what we're seeing. To make matters worse, not only did interest climb, home sales continue to appreciate. As a matter of fact, I think the number in this article is somewhere around 7.9%. And that's the increase that we've seen from a national perspective when it comes to home values. And to add some context to that, if I'm not mistaken, the national average home price is right around $329,000, which would be an increase of about $27,000 just from factoring in this 7.9% increase that we've seen. So again, home prices have gone through the roof, literally through the roof, and interest has climbed to a point where it has really put buyers in a position where they're questioning home affordability. How much home can they afford and whether or not it makes sense? And as we're talking about a decline in pending sales, well, to add some more context as to why we're seeing some of these factors, if you take a look at the amount of homes that were available in the beginning of March, which was right around 1 million homes available on the market, that's a decrease by about 7% from just the previous month. So again, if we just take a step back, we have interest rates going up, we have home sale prices continuing to climb, and we have less homes on the market for buyers to to choose from. So we're really seeing a lot of factors that we haven't really seen in the real estate market. I don't want to say ever, but at least not in my 22 years of selling real estate. So what does NAR's chief economist have to say about all of this? Enter Lawrence Yun. Lawrence is the chief economist for NAR, and per Lawrence, he still thinks that with all of these moving factors, we're still going to see strong buyer demand throughout 2023. As a matter of fact, Lawrence slates that we should see about 5.5 million real estate transactions throughout the year. So Lawrence, I hope you're right. If not, I hope that there are more transactions than that. If anything, definitely not less. Although there is significant buyer demand, at the end of the day, we have to acknowledge the fact that the rise in interest rates, the low housing inventory, the home prices that continue to climb month over month really make it difficult for the buyers out there. And with that mindset, this is one of the other reasons that sellers aren't putting their home on the market. They know that if they do put their home on the market, well, then they're subject to some of the same turbulence that the buyers that we're currently discussing are facing. They're gonna go through the same thing. So that is creating a lot of hesitation for people who wanna sell their home, but simply are not selling their home because they know it is not going to be easy to buy the next. So in conclusion, what does all of this mean? Well, I wish I could tell you that things were great, but things are different. This is definitely a different real estate market. And I really think the best thing that you can do is take your time and make sure that you are putting thought into your budget. You are creating creative offers. You are aligning yourself with a creative team, whether it's a realtor or a mortgage loan officer or whatever the key may be. But that's what it's going to take to be successful in 2023. With all of that said, let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts on the real estate market and if any of these things are keeping you on the sideline.